Less supplies. Use common sense there. Think about it. So right here I have 0. I'm going to add 15.7 to 0. Now I have 1577. Nothing happened over here, right? So I'm just going to bring down my 10,000. Am I still balanced?
Yes.
Yes, I am. Transaction 3, pay cash for insurance. Well, let me introduce insurance to you. So you pay insurance up front. You don't pay it like, some people pay it each month, but most people pay it like 6 months at a time. Okay? This person has bought their insurance for the whole year. If it's $1,200 for the whole year, how much is it each month?
Like $100.
$100, right? Does that make kind of some sense? But we're going to buy it up front. When you buy upfront insurance, that's called prepaid insurance. You're prepaying for the insurance. And later on, you'll learn that each month, some of it will come out. Okay? We'll talk about that a lot later. But right now, prepaid insurance is also an asset. Okay? So right now, we've learned 3 assets, right? So if I paid $1,200 for insurance, what 2 accounts did I just affect? Cash and the insurance. What happens to cash? Goes down. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do $1,200 subtract. It gets me 72.23. All right. So if I subtracted $1,200 there, I'm going to add it to my insurance. So nothing's going to happen here, right? So I'm going to bring down my 1577. Everybody good with that? But I'm going to add $1,200 to this insurance. So I'm going to have $1,200 here. Nothing happened over here. So it's still 10,000. See how I'm still trying to keep my totals all together on the same line? The good part is when you all see this on Google Sheets, you'll see like you have to type in the right line. It makes it a little bit easier to keep it lined up because it, when I'm writing on the board, I'm kind of everywhere. So sorry. All right. Going to introduce another account. We talked about it yesterday. Let me kind of scoot it over a little bit. There you go. All right, so what did we say liabilities were? Right? All right, so it is on August the 7th, we bought some supplies. So do we have supplies or less supplies?
More.
Got more supplies on accounts. That means, did I pay cash for it? Do you see the word cash in that sentence anyway? No. So does it affect cash in any way whatsoever? So do anything with cash. We're buying it on account. That means AP, accounts payable. And we have to keep our accounts payable all separate because you're going to have multiple accounts payable. See how they've got AP Ling? That's because you might have an AP something else later. So you'll have multiple APs. So I'm going to go ahead and say AP Ling right here. See how I do A/P? That's how we do accounts payable. So if we bought supplies, what happens to supplies? Since I told you to always go with cash first, there's no cash. So think of something else you have that you can think of physically that you have more of it. We're going to add to our supplies. So I'm going to go right here. How much was it? 27.20. So do anything. It stays the same. My supplies ends up being $42.97. Nothing happened to my insurance. Did anything happen to AP?
Yes.
Okay, so what happened to AP? It went up also. Now, a second ago, we had them going up and going down. But they're on opposite sides of the equal sign, so they do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
To stay equal. So do I have more or less AP?
More.
So I'm gonna add 2720. So now I have 2720. And nothing happened to my capital. So I still have 10,000 in my capital. Make sense? Okay, so on the 11th, 4 days later, we paid cash on account to Link. So we owe them 2720. We're gonna pay them half of what we owe them. So I'm gonna subtract from cash, right? The 1360,
Yeah.
which leaves me 5863. All right, but did anything happen to supplies in this thing?
No.
No, because we already bought the supplies. This has nothing to really do with supplies. So my supplies are still gonna be $42.97. Nothing to do with insurance, so it's still $1,200. But we paid off part of what we owed, right? So what's gonna happen to AP? Subtract. So I'm gonna go, now I have 1360 there, right? Because I paid half of it, and nothing happened over here, so I've still got 10,000. Am I still balanced? If I were to add those up, I would be still balanced. And on some of the homework, you do have to add them up to make sure that you're right. And that's how you'll know if you're right. They have to equal. Each side has to equal. If they don't, you've done something wrong. Make some sense? So what's a transaction?
Thing where things get traded.
That's a good way to describe it, yeah. It affects the accounts definitely. So an account is, like the name of the specific account titles would be those, right? The accounts are the topics. So like cash is an account, and the account title is named cash, right? The account balance,
The money in the account.
each time you make a transaction, you have a new account balance, right? That makes sense? And capital, that owner's business, yeah. And so far, capital hasn't changed. Bill later, okay, I promise. But right now, capital has not changed. Okay. Everybody good? Have to work together then. Please tell me it's blank. Because I was having issues a while ago with it.
It is blank, but there's two sheets.
There's two. Oh, one.
It says one
One's
inch.
worked together and one's on your own. Now, is everybody's on the set? Like if I click on this, does everybody see that or is it separate? They have their own. Okay, good. Because last year it was messed up. So I hoped that I had fixed it, but I really wasn't sure if I'd fixed it. So, all right. For the work together, you need to turn to page 12 in your books. Now, we're not going to do numbers in the work together and the on your own. We're going to do numbers in the application problem. I think that's kind of strange that they do it this way, but that's just how they do it. So in your book, turn to page 12. And what we're going to do is we're going to put pluses and minuses in the columns that it goes. Like, they didn't even separate it. I really don't like this work together. I'm just being honest. I think they could have done a lot better, but it's okay. You bought supplies on account. Where is it going to go up? Is it going to go up in the assets, liabilities, owner's equity, where?
Up in the
So I'm going to do a plus right there in my assets. Actually, I'm not going to do a plus because it makes you want to do let's do an X. Yeah. Because if you do a plus, it makes you want to do a formula, and we're not doing formulas. Where's going to be the minus? Because you know we got to have a minus in the liabilities. There you go. Now everybody kind of understand what we're doing? All right, the next one is receive cash from the owner as an investment. Where's the plus? Or where's one of the pluses, I guess I should say. We're going to definitely have one in owner's equity. Where else are we going to have it? In assets, because cash is an asset. Those two accounts are what are affected, right? Okay. The third one, pay cash for insurance. Assets are going to happen. What's going to happen in assets?
That's just gonna go down.
One's going to go up and one's going to go down, right? So So we're gonna do an X and a minus right beside it. Because one's going up, one's going down. And the last one, paid cash on account. So liabilities are gonna do what?
Go down.
Go down. And actually, this was supposed to be up. I don't know why I put a minus there, but not bad. And what's gonna happen to assets? Also go down. You got it. Everybody good with the work together? We're not gonna do the on your own. Yeah, it should have been a plus. That was my bad. Wasn't it? Isn't that what it was? No, never mind. It was paid up. It was, yeah, it was bought supplies on account. It should have gone up too. That was my bad because I read it wrong earlier. I was thinking of something else. I told you wrong. So, all right. So let's open up the application problem. Open up 1, 2, and let's talk through this because you're actually using the numbers and I want to make sure you understand how this works. So on page 17 in your book is where the problem is. So turn to page 17 in your book. Now, does that look a little bit more like what we did?
Mhm.
Yeah. But let's work through this so you understand how these rows and columns work. So they did number 1 for you. You'll see at the beginning balance, everything was 0, right? Because we hadn't done anything. If you read in the book, number 1 says you receive cash from the owner as an investment of $2,000. So do you see how they put $2,000 in the cash and $2,000 in the capital, and then they brought down their balances in that next row? That makes sense how they did that? So let's do the next one together, and then I'm gonna have you on your own after that. So number 2 says you paid cash for insurance of $600. All right, so we paid cash. Cash is gonna go down. So let's talk about formulas here for a second. Everybody watching? So I'm not gonna do minus 600 because I'm gonna do the formula underneath it with the minus in it. Because if I do a minus 600, you'd have to do a plus to make the math work. So I'm gonna have $600 in cash going away, right? And what did I buy? Read number 2 in the book.
Insurance.
I bought insurance. So where else am I gonna have 100?
Prepaid insurance.
Prepaid insurance. Okay. So what am I gonna do in my new balance? I'm gonna make a formula. I'm gonna do equals, and I'm gonna just click on B5, and I'm gonna subtract B6. So if you were in digital literacy last year, you know exactly what I'm doing. Those of you that have not been in digital literacy yet, if you're having trouble with it, call me over there and I'll help you work on that, okay? So what we're doing is we're using a formula. So by clicking the equal sign, that starts a formula, okay? So if you click the equal sign, and then all I did is I clicked in that B5 box. I just put my mouse on it and I clicked it. Then I subtracted because I'm paying cash. Had I been adding cash, I'd just put a plus there. Would have done the same thing. And when I press equals, it does the formula for me. Any questions? Those of you that are not digital literacy, let me come back there and help you. Okay, so what you're gonna do is just write 600 there. Okay, then you're gonna go down to your new balance, and you're gonna use the formula. Because of the yeah, now press it, and it doesn't add for you. The error, I'm sorry. Say it is for you. And you do not want to suggested autofill because the things are going to be different. Some are going to be adding and some of them are going to be subtracting. So don't do the suggested autofill. Just yeah. Then you're going to go over here and do 600 there. And because you're only adding you got it, Emma. Do I have that? No, you don't have to. This is mine. Oh, now you're on there. That one's right. This one. I'm not worried. Sorry. close that. That's what I'm worried about. This one I'm not that worried about. Alright, so don't forget to bring down. So once we press the enter button, it gives us our formula, or gives us our answer. And like I said, don't do the suggested fill. I'm gonna go ahead and bring down my 600 right here, because there was nothing to add. Bring down your zeros in all the places that were zeros, and I'm gonna bring down my 2,000 from over here. So does everybody see that I have to keep, even if it's a zero, I still gotta bring my balances down. Then you're gonna go on to transaction 3 and do the same thing. Does everybody understand how this works now a little bit better? If you need me, I'm gonna be walking around. We're doing application 1-2 and 1-3. When you get to the bottom, make sure all your assets equal all your liabilities and your owner's equity. Like, do a little formula over to the side, add those 3 numbers, make sure they equal. So, let's work. Okay. So what was transaction 2? You're not even on the right page. You gotta get to the right page so you know what's going on. Page 17. Okay, so read number 2. So you pay cash, we get $600, right? And so what we're doing is we're doing formulas, and the next balance, you have to put it in. So you do equal, and then you click on the 2,000, and then are you subtracting and are you adding? Paid cash. There you go. So you would minus, and you're minusing whatever you paid in cash, which is, you just click on that box.
What if you hold it on a
Down
tab?
press it. And look, it did it. Okay. So now, if $600 cash has gone away, you bought insurance, what other account does it affect? You bought insurance. To where? You bought insurance. You bought insurance. There you go, you bought insurance. So on the same transaction line, you have 600 there. And then you just bring that number down, you're not adding it, you're just adding it to 0. So you can just type 600. Now, this number has to keep going down too. It had to stay on the balance. There you go. Now you go to transaction 3. Bought supply account, Swan Supply. So what 2 accounts are going to affect?
Supplies and insurance?
Does it say the word insurance in that sentence?
No.
So is it insurance? What word does it say?
Supplies
And
account.
Swan Supply Company. Do you see that up there?
Yeah.
There you go. So you know that those 2 accounts, Supplies and Swans, are going to be affected. Does that help? Okay. Okay. So this is just a balance. So you have a new balance and a transaction, new balance transaction. So now you're going to bring down all your numbers. So like you bring 600, you bring 0. You bring 0. You got it, right? So now I'm going to do transaction 3. So what is transaction 3? So what 2 accounts are in there? And you. So this one has 400, you just come in. Wouldn't do anything. There you go. So with that, nothing affecting that. Everybody listen for a second. The transaction line over on the left should only have 2 numbers in it. Like on that row, just the 2 things that are affected. The balance should be all the way full, whether it's 0 or whether it's a number. Does that kind of help a little? So, we bought supplies, how much supplies? Okay. Did it affect insurance? So, for regular, you're not. There you go. But it did affect Swan, right? So if I put the transaction, what did it do to the Swan? So now we're going to pay it out. There you go. That cleared up a little. This one says Swan and this one, right, it'll tell you. It gives you the name. Don't stress about that too much, okay? Okay, only on transactions should you have two things. Everybody listen, I'm seeing like right here, you've got four things on transaction. It should only have two things. Balances is only where you bring balances down. You have to do that. There's another one on the front there. And it's on the Google Classroom. But always double check it when you get done. Double check your assets and your liabilities before you move on any further.
Mr. Sal.
Did you have a question? Number 3 is not cash. Read what it says. You bought supplies. So it has nothing to do with cash. It's cash in that sentence. Well, that has nothing to do with cash. So you just don't do anything. No. You just don't do anything. You just bring your number down. You just bring your 1,400 down. But what did it affect? You got your 100 here. But what else did it affect? Supplies. There you go. But up one on the transaction. There you go. I don't know what that 5 is, so I would never write that. That should not be there. Bring your balances down now. You got 100 here, 600 here, 100 here, 0 there, and 2,000 there. I can copy it. Just write it. So on the new balance. Read what it says. New balance. Transaction. Everybody listen. I've said this 3 times, and I'm still finding people doing it. Transactions will only have 2 things because you're only affecting 2 things in a transaction. Balance will be full. Every box will have a number in it, whether it's 0 or the new balance. That's why it's called the balance row. Okay? Making some sense? If you're struggling today, I'm telling you, you're going to be struggling the rest of the year. Because this is like the easiest stuff we do.
What if you pay cash on account?
Well, what's it affect? And there you go. You gotta do both of them and then you turn. No, we're not gonna do that. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get you back. Yep, you got it. No, you don't have to do the plus signs because what's gonna happen is you're doing it in the formula. Yeah, that's exactly right. Because if I had done the minus, then I would have had to make you do the formula as a plus because you have a minus and then I did that to confuse people even more. Yeah, and you can do it in here, but later on, you're gonna use formulas, I promise. That's why I'm trying to make y'all kind of do the formulas. Yep, if you've got it right, move on to 1, 2. Okay.
So on this one,
Which
that
one?
makes no sense. On all of them.
You bought supplies on account, so your supplies is going up. Every time you buy supplies, it's going up. It has nothing to do with cash, and we've been putting it in cash. Cash has nothing to do with it. There will only be 2 things on a transaction. Did you just now? Does that make more sense now?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. I don't know, add them up. Add these 3 and add these 3 and see if they equal. They're supposed to. That's how you'll know if you're right. That's how you know. Because your formula has to stay equal. Yep. 1,200 for insurance, yeah. And you paid it, so. You paid it, what'd you pay it with? The word may not be there, but think really. Think about it, like you really do it. All right, you subtract. Right. The other one down. Make more sense now? Okay. Yeah, you totally messed up on the transaction 3, because you should not have 5 things. I don't know why you have, I'm not sure why you have this. I'm not sure why you have this. And you shouldn't have that. Transaction 3 was only these 2 things.
Just this one.
That should be 100. That should be 100. And that should be 0. There's your balance.
Okay, so now down to this.
Number 4, so you bought supplies on account, so
So I would
it's 500.
do 500, then I add 500 to the supplies. So now it's 600.
Take out that first.
I like
No,
that.
no. You would put 500, it's gotta equal that.
Oh, it does?
Then you put in the balance the 600.
Okay,
Transactions are just whatever it says over here.
okay.
The balances are adding these up.
Yeah.
So 1,400, 600 on the next, 100, 500, the 2,000. Well, not added.
Well, yeah, no,
Right,
bring it down.
You paid tax. Paid. You paid tax. City tax.
Always look
You're
at
paying
it.
it.
Oh, crap, I'm starting to get it.
Starting to get it?
Yeah.
So like this,
Didn't
these,
equal?
yeah, these are.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see where you are. 2,000. You paid 100, down to 1,400. And then we paid 100, that got us down to 1,300. And then, yeah, you got some.
Oh.
And then you paid 300, so you got 300. Then you paid cash at 500. And then you received, that one's right, that one's right. Then we had 600. And then you paid, that would have added 500, that one, right? That had nothing to do. Oh. It should be 2,700 on both sides. 2,700. 1,000 plus 1,100 plus 600 is 27.
Yeah, but this is not.
Oh, yeah. That's 1,700.
Yeah.
So where are we missing 1,000? 2,700. So something you've written wrong. Oh, I know what it is. You received cash to be reimbursed. Yeah,
Oh.
you received it. That makes more sense? Yeah. I just gotta, like, throw it in my head and figure it out. Yep. Yep, when you're done, turn it in.
I don't know what it's like, but it's not adding up properly, but I followed everything. Like,
$500 should be added to the $500.
oh, I heard this is a counter, that's like cash.
It does, but when you're adding on, you must not add on that.
Oh.
Keep your account equal.
I've got a question.
Don't worry about it. You can just click turn in, it's fine.
Hey,
Come in this way and around the circle.
Whoa.
So far, no. That 1,400 should have been brought down to the bank. You don't do anything with it, you still bring it down to the bank. Okay? And then you still bring this one down to the bank. You still, yeah, that. So then your transaction was $100, number 5, so you paid. There you go. I'm gonna clear it up a little bit. So you'll just need to go through all of them and just double check. Yes. No. That would you should have done all, you should have had 8 transactions.
Oh, this one.
So all that is right for what you had. Yes, those are all correct. So did you not do these three? Did you not see them? Okay, so do those three and then you'll have it.
Now I'm thinking.
Yes, it is. That's 2,700 and that's 2,700.
This doesn't look like it. And I had to look over.
25 plus 2 is 27. 1,000 plus 11 is 21 plus 6 is 27.
It's a little bit early to do a bunch of mental math.
Are you lost?
Yeah, I got this thing done, but
No, you don't.
no, this.
You got to do them all at the same time. No, and that some of those aren't right because the cash is not affected by all those. Highlight up to get rid of all that. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's up there. Okay. Bring down your 0. Bring down your 0. Bring down your 0.
Yes.
All right, transaction 3. Bought supplies on account. What 2 accounts are affected?
Supplies and cash.
Does it say the word cash in that sentence anywhere?
Oh no. Supplies and account payable.
Okay, which one? Swans, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you bought supplies, what's going to happen to supplies? They're going to go up or going to go down?
Down.
You bought.
Oh,
Will somebody click my alarm, please?
up.
So we'd have $100 there, right?
Yeah.
So if we bought it there, from what company?
Swans.
Okay, so put it in Swans. That's York. There you go.
100.
Mm-hmm. So, did it affect cash? No. So we're going to bring down our 1,400 to that new balance. We're going to bring 100 down. We're going to bring the 600 down because nothing affected those. We're going to bring the 100. We're going to bring 0, and we're going to bring 2,000. Make a little bit more sense?
Yeah.
All right, transaction 4. You bought supplies from York Company this time. So what's going to happen to? Okay, so no, in transaction 4, it's 500.
500.
And you bought supplies, so okay. So now what happens to cash?
It's gonna go.
It stays the same.
Yeah.
So we're gonna put 1,400 new balance. What happened to supplies?
It went up
Okay, so we have now.
600.
There you go. Now we have 600 in prepaid insurance still. We still have 100 in Swan. Now we have how much in York? 500. And then we still have how much in Capital?
2,000.
There you go. Does that kind of help a little?
Yeah.
If you are not done with 1, 2, and 1, 3, you really probably ought to take the book home, or if you want to take a picture of this with your phone so that you can finish it, because we're going to really be moving on Monday. Time to go. Okay. If you want to take a picture of it, that's fine. Don't forget to put your books up.
56. About depreciation of values.
Not until number 2, like, accounting 2. Yep, that's all.